Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, I am absolutely delighted to be joined by the mountain, 260 pounds of heavyweight fighter. He's going to be competing at FightersRep 17 on February 18th. It's none other than Jared the Mountain Vanderaa. Jared, how are you, man?
Just a little tired. It's just been one of those days where everything's just gone downhill. Training's just been brutal. The usual stuff.
I did see you over there at King's getting some work in. I mean, I'm assuming this is preparation for this kickboxing bout you got yourself into here on February 18th.
Yeah, no, my last fight I actually switched over to Kings.
I
Full
see. I
time.
see.
So yeah, no, I've been training under them for roughly about 6 months now.
Okay, very cool, very cool. And right now you're at Team Quest Hemet. I mean, you own the gym, or are you just managing that gym? Kind of give us a little information
No.
about that.
So I officially own the gym. I've owned it for going on 3 years. Actually, the end of this month. Uh,
Wow, man,
I
nice.
actually I bought it right before the shutdown.
Wow, man,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
So I bought it like February 2020, like February 1st, 2020.
Wow, man. So this is so coming up is going to be like your first year. 2023 is going to be like your first year where nobody's messing with you, basically, as far as running your business. Am I right?
Not really. You know that one little like 2 weeks that we had open in 2020.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was. I used that time to get official. Got all my paperwork done, and I've been open since. I only shut down once when I tested positive for COVID.
I see. I see.
But outside of that, though, we've been running pretty strong, pretty regularly. This will be the first year that I don't have to take any flack for operating a business during the winter months. But yeah.
I love it, man. Well, big congrats on that. Jared, for the people that don't know, I mean, look, I'm excited to have you on because, I know you've spent the majority of your career doing MMA, as far as the pro part of your career. But you're going to be doing a kickboxing fight with us in the heavyweight division, part of the main card. I mean, it doesn't really get, in my opinion, more exciting than that. You're going to get to stand and bang it out with a guy you fought in the past. Kind of, for those that don't know, kind of tell us, a little bit about yourself in a nutshell. And then we'll get into what you got going on February 17th or February 18th rather. But kind of let me know about yourself in a nutshell and those people that are watching.
All right. So professional, we'll kind of work midway, and then we'll kind of work backwards. We're gonna jump all over the place here. Professionally, I've been fighting. I think I want to say since 2015. I could be wrong on the year. But yeah, no, I turned professional around like 2015, 2014. I don't know.
Yeah.
Way too long. Uh, so I've been doing the MMA thing for over 12, 13 years now.
Wow,
Uh,
man.
but I really love Muay Thai. It's always been one of like the passions. So I've tried to take fights online fights. I've tried as many shows as you could possibly uh, think of. Before 2020, I tried pretty religiously to do a few pro Muay Thai because my amateur Muay Thai background was 4-1
Nice,
or
nice.
5-1. I don't remember. Um, yeah, I had like 4 or 5 amateur or like 5 or 6 amateur bouts. My only loss came via I think split decision to Rolando from Carlsbad Kickboxing.
Okay, okay.
Uh, yeah, no, me and him went at it for a little super heavyweight tournament. Split decision, fun fight. Um, yeah, and then once I went pro, it was just difficult to find MMA fights, let alone Muay Thai fights.
Right, right.
Now I'm fighting a person that I did fight in the MMA scene. To be honest, it's been so long that uh, I don't remember the details of the fight. I mean, outside of winning, I felt like I was winning the stand-up exchanges. Then he tried to take me down. Defended the takedown. TK.
Hey, Jared, give me can you hear me?
I took that. I was actually helping. Yeah,
Sorry, I think the signal got a little choppy for a second there. Can you repeat, kind of what happened in that fight?
yeah. So me and Clark were going at it. Stand up. I don't quite remember. I believe I was winning the exchanges. He changed levels, shoots. I counter. I believe I sprawl and I ground and pound victory.
Nice,
To be
nice.
honest, I could be completely fabricating this. I just don't remember completely how it happened. I just remember that there was a takedown attempt from one of us, and I got on top, and that's where I won. That's all I remember is me winning on top. Uh,
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, it is something that happened. I believe it was about 7 years ago. And the interesting part about it, Jared, I thought this was real interesting. Is so Chris Cully is one of our commentators,
mhm.
and he was actually the main event on that card when you last fought Maykill Clark. It was Chris Cully versus Chris Saunders. I just actually looked it up today. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And Chris was actually, he does these shows with me a lot. And he was actually telling me, like, a lot of the Team Quest guys, they're known for their wrestling, but he feels like the Team Quest guys, a lot of them are good strikers. Like, they don't get the credit that they deserve as far as striking goes. I think that's especially true in your case, where you said you had at least 5 amateur striking fights.
Yeah, so I would say it's a weird split. Like right now, I'm in the back room. I mean, hence why all the chemicals and weird random stuff in the back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, because right now I have actually one of my coaches is Richie Redate. We call him the Butcher because of his striking and his boxing prowess. He just obliterates people.
Yeah.
Now I would say between him and I, we are very two strong strikers. And then you got Fernando Gonzalez, another grappler, but or another striker, but he has a good grappling pedigree himself. But like us three, we're known for the striking part of things, and then there's a good handful of guys that still have that wrestling pedigree. Definitely a lot more than I have, and with so it's kind of a weird split. And then especially the gym that I own, we are definitely heavy into the Muay Thai side of things. But we definitely have a good base for jiu-jitsu, and we are actually pushing ourselves pretty hard with our new wrestling coach that we've had for I think about a year now.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, hey, I like to hear that. And you're not the only one from the gym coming out. You've got I guess he's your student at this point, Angel Becerra. He's also going to be coming out and taking on Cameron Spencer. So this is pretty exciting.
Yeah, he's actually right now training.
Nice.
I'm gonna definitely be talking to him and Richie, seeing if Richie could assist with the cornering more so than me because obviously. Um, but yeah, no, Angel's excited for this fight. He's definitely preparing very well for it, and I would like to see how he does because he's a very funky style of a striker. He's definitely a striker. He has and understands the basis of things, but he's just funky. That's the best way to put it. Uh, the
Like just
the
like just awkward
equivalent is
movement, or
like
doesn't
funk
work.
wrestling. He's a
Yeah.
funk striker. It's very the timing, the rhythms, they're just a bit odd. And don't get me wrong, the oddness works in his favor. He knows how to play into the style. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to see how he does. And I would like to just see him in just a true Muay Thai uh, setting versus MMA setting where he has to worry about the takedowns and the ground and pound and the jiu-jitsu.
for sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, this, is this pretty close to kickbox. I mean, are we're pretty close to Muay Thai. I mean, we're doing
Yeah,
kickboxing, but we do have the 3 to 5 second clinch. We got the knees, and I actually think this is a good place. I mean, a lot of MMA gyms that actually send us fighters to kind of hone their guys striking before they set them out there on their MMA careers as well.
yeah. No, I definitely tell my guys all over compete in all the styles, just because one, you don't know if you're going to just love one particular style. Two, I mean, this is MMA. You should be doing, or not this, but if you're an MMA fighter, you should be exploring avenues of boxing, Muay Thai, and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, Jared. So I also wanted to ask you, personally, like, what kind of got you into the whole fighting thing? I mean, obviously, you could have done a lot of other things with your life. You're a big, strong guy. You could have probably played football and done all kinds of other sports. Why'd you choose fighting?
it seemed more natural to me. Football, I definitely had my looks. I was told that my senior year I would have gotten a scholarship to Fresno, I believe. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
because when I was playing, I was doing everything right. But the one thing that really caught the coach's attention, he goes, "You like," he told the Fresno coach or whatever he was, looked at my coach and goes, "You only have one person running from field to field." And he did say, he goes, "I wish he would just run a little bit harder during the drills." And my coach, I remember coming up to me and was like, "Hey, you're going to blow your chance of possibly getting a scholarship if you don't bust your ass." And I'm like, "You told me not to hit the running backs, so I have to slow down." He was like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah, you told me not to hit the running backs, so it's either I hit the running backs or I don't. There's no in between." He goes, "Fuck it, hit him." I'm like, "All right, cool." And he goes, "I'm gonna let him know though." He goes, "Hey, you guys are gonna get hit now." And they're like, "Okay." And I fucking steamrolled like, and the guy was like, "Yo, I would like him to play football." It's just halfway through it, I had no love for it. There was nothing for me. I hated the football training. I like literally I was more upset that I was missing wrestling than I was
Hello, Jared. Can you hear me?
football.
Hello, Jared. Can you hear me,
And I was
dude?
like, God, I really don't like.
Hey, Jared. I think you're cutting out a little bit. It might be some of those chemicals in the background. They're messing with our reception. Can you hear me? Hello? Give me a second, guys. I gotta try to resolve whatever's going on here.
We there?
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It looks like you changed locations and we got you back.
Yeah, no, I stepped as close as I can to the router without going out into the
I
office.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. So you were telling me about, they told you to run over the running backs. You started running them over. Then you mentioned how you just had no love for it, though. You just didn't like the training. You didn't like anything about the football lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't for me anymore. I was just like,
Yeah.
wow, I don't have love for the sport. And growing up, I remember like early high school, that's all I could think about was being in the top of the sport. I was like, I can make it to the NFL, and I'm just like, my senior year, I was just like, fuck this sport. Oh,
Yeah.
like I know my sophomore year, I hated the football coach. He was, he definitely drove me to hate it. But when I like discovered wrestling, I was like, oh my god, this fucking thing is so much better than football, and it consumed me. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it would be weird to kind of say that. It's like people are like, oh well, you wrestled in high school. Why do you suck at wrestling in professional fights? And I'm just like, uh, I didn't wrestle like all my wrestling moves. You cannot do in MMA. So
Right.
it, you know, a little bit backfired into my career, but it happens.
Well, so you started. I mean, is wrestling your introduction to combat sports, or I mean, was that the first thing you did with combat?
Sorry, I got a cramp in my hand.
It's all good. It's all good.
Like I'm rubbing my back, and then my hand just cramps up. I'm like, oh shit. Uh, well, yeah, because it was my first real introduction because we couldn't afford going to any gyms. But I was a huge fan of boxing and Muay Thai growing up.
Mm.
I swear, like Bloodsport was my favorite fucking movie of all time. If it wasn't Bloodsport, it had to be Kickboxer. Anything was Jean Claude Van Damme. Dude was a true inspiration. I can't say Bruce Lee was an inspiration to me. It was Jean Claude Van Damme, hands
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Especially in the striking department. I mean, I feel like Jean Claude Van Damme does not get as much credit as he deserves, especially introducing a lot of Americans to kickboxing and Muay Thai like he did.
For sure, dude. Bloodsport for me is like a classic, man. Whenever that thing's on, I gotta watch it the whole way through. That movie's crazy.
I remember watching it as a kid thinking it was the best movie. I watched it like a couple years ago. I'm like, oh God, this is horrible.
It is cheesy in hindsight, but it was amazing growing up for sure.
Exactly. And I mean, there will always be a place for Bloodsport for me, but I was like, oh my God, like, wow, I can't believe I enjoyed it that much.
So when was your first kind of striking competition?
My first fight would have been October 23rd, 2010.
I
Uh,
see.
as an amateur, and then my first like Muay Thai bout would have been, I think, 2011, 2012 ish, where I did a super heavyweight tournament. And I was the smallest of all the heavyweights, which
That's pretty crazy.
ironically now, yeah, no, well, so I was deemed a heavyweight. Uh, so yeah, that's also one of the weird things was I was a small heavyweight for that bout,
Yeah.
but it was a fun. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I just the one thing no one told me was doing a multiple fight Muay Thai fight. You're going to be a lot more sore than just one fight. I was like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I remember like, yeah, like the first two or three matches, I'm like, yeah, I kicked ass. And then I just remember walking home. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And, and then like my shin blew up, and the worst part was I had a stick shift, so I
Oh
was
my
like,
god.
and my girl at the time she couldn't drive a stick shift, so I'm just like basically driving home, tear in my eye. I'm just
Oh my
like
god.
this fucking sucks.
Oh my goodness.
And
Well,
then
I hope.
I remember basically hobbling along because I went to my house. I'm like, Mom, do you have any ibuprofen? And she was like, no. I'm like, fuck. So I hobble along to Walmart. I'm just like, ibuprofen, please. And yeah, no, that was a fun time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, Muay Thai is just so brutal, man. I can't imagine being in multiple fights. I, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could tell me. I mean, is Muay Thai more, I guess, pain inducing than something like MMA, since you're kind of just standing there and going back and forth?
It definitely can be for sure. Like I'm not
Yeah,
going to sit there and say MMA is worse or Muay Thai is worse, but
yeah,
there's definitely a few things that I think could make Muay Thai worse. One is being checked. One big complaint I would have to say to the MMA community is they don't check enough. It's weird because I am actually notoriously known for my leg kicks. This year I was ranked number 5 in the last year, throwing the most leg kicks.
Yeah, yeah.
I had like 70 thrown in the last year in the my combined fights, I believe.
Nice.
And I know one of my fights, my coaches told me not to throw a kick at all, so I didn't throw a kick in that fight, and I still was able to be in the top 5 in the UFC in throwing
Nice.
leg kicks and something like that.
Yeah.
So in MMA, they don't check leg kicks. I remember when I was checked maybe total of like 3 times. I'm like, yeah. But when I train Muay Thai or like when I fight Muay Thai, that's a whole different story. You're like, da, 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 da. Oh, you checked that shit. That fucking stuff. Oh, fuck. So, and walking sucks for weeks.
Yeah.
Like if you take shots or you're not conditioned enough, walking becomes a true challenge. So like you're like, yeah, I'm walking. You're like, oh, this fucking sucks. Oh shit, my shins hurt. Or like yeah, the things like that definitely I are kind of out of hindsight for MMA fighters. But like you see Thai fighters, they're like check, boom, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that hurts. Just watching certain checks, you're just like, oh.
Well, would you say you have a preference? I mean, if you could pick one sport that you love to compete in more. I mean, do you like kickboxing as much as you like MMA, or do you have more love for MMA, or how do you feel about it?
It's it's like asking if I like chess or checkers.
Yeah,
I mean, in both of them, I suck, but like they are both they both require skill, and yeah, I like both of them a lot, and I can't really pick which one's better. Like kick, and for this analogy, kickboxing is checkers.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
like as much as it's easy to play, if you actually have a game plan and you know what you're doing, it could become very complex real quick. But it's a lot quicker. But it's also, I think, maybe it's quicker because it's maybe more painful, or it
yeah.
could potentially be a lot more painful. Whereas MMA, it's a little bit more chess like because you're like, oh, I could throw this head kick, but he could shoot and take me down. And then that's a whole new sea of options right there.
Right, 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 right.
So they both have things, and I definitely have a love for both sports. I definitely will say, as a coach wise, I prefer teaching Muay Thai as a coach
Nice,
for
nice.
MMA because one, I could kind of gauge people. You're like, okay, you don't know this. I could fix this. This is easy to adjust. But like MMA, there's again so many variables that you have to put in consideration. Whereas Muay Thai, it's like, all right. And because of that, as a instructor, I'm a little bit more lax and easy on myself. And I think my students also see that. They're like, okay, he knows what he's talking about. He knows how to do it in a way that doesn't seem convoluted, and
Yeah.
they get it a little bit easier.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, obviously we're very excited to have you on, Jared. I mean, I like to think you're a pretty big name, and it's awesome that, a guy like you who's gone so far in MMA is deciding to do a kickboxing bout. I think it's going to be crazy having two heavyweights the caliber of yourself and Maykill Clark in there on February 18th at Fighters Rep 7. And obviously, everybody, you guys can get your tickets at FightersRep.com, or you can watch right here on the YouTube channel by joining the channel, clicking the join button. You could also access the live stream on FightersRep.com. I wanted to ask you about this fight, Jared. When I proposed it to Maykel, he was very interested. Obviously, he lost the first sort of encounter between the two of you, and he wants some get back. He wants to he wants to win. He wants to make it right. Does that add a little spice to this fight for you?
A little bit. Like a piece of me is kind of like, okay, I'm glad that think we could do this again. I'm happy to just get a fight.
Yeah.
A piece of me is like, the back of my head is like, dude, I beat you on a 24-hour notice. But like I just said, it's a different, it's a different sea of options, once
Right.
we go to the
Right.
ground.
Right.
And again, I don't remember our striking exchanges so much because it's been God knows how long. I've had, what was it, about 16 fights since that fight. So
Right. Right.
So there are things in there where I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm like, I beat you once, I could do it again. That would just be very arrogant of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to keep my ego in check. I can't be like, oh, I beat him once, fuck it, I'm not going to train that hard. No, I'm just like, dude, I'm training hard. I'm making sure I'm staying light, and I want to beat him again. Where he's like, all right, he beat me in two sports. I can't, I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like. And I mean, I'm not upset with him taking. Like, I know some people are like, "Oh, he didn't learn his lesson the first time." I'm just like, cool. I'm just excited to have a fight.
And I think he's very much like you as well. I mean, I think he just wants to compete. And I think you alluded to this earlier. There's so much MMA out there, right? But there's
Yeah,
not a lot. There's not a lot of like places for guys like you and Maykel, especially bigger guys that are good at striking to kind of show off their striking skills. I'm really glad you guys chose us as the venue to do it, to be
yeah,
honest.
because because for a while, like down the street at Pachanga, lion fights would used to be there. And honestly, though, like I the people I've worked with trying to get hold of them, kind of brushed me off to the side, or when they did interact, they're like, dude, we can't find you a fight.
Right, right.
And so, like, when I reached out to you guys, and you're like, yeah, we have somebody, I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, I like this. And when you said Clark, I was like, you know what? He's a good striker. I remember him having a background, I want to say, in Taekwondo. For
Yeah,
like,
yeah, no, he's got a very traditional martial arts background, so for sure, he's a good
yeah.
striker.
And I know, I know firsthand that his taekwondo or whatever style he does works. I've been hit by him. I don't I like I again, I don't remember how hard it was, but I do remember he hit me enough where I'm like, I need to hit him harder.
I love it. I love it. Jared, so, at the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles, February 18th, you're going to be throwing down on the main card. Why should people come out and watch the Mountain take on Vakel Clark on that date? And what should people expect to see?
Uh they should one leg kicks. All right, I'm calling it now. I'm throwing at least one.
Ah,
Uh but like I think when me and him fought, it was just one of those stylistic things where I kind of remember the crowd getting electric a little bit when we were going at it, and I think this won't be anything different. Because I've actually trained with him more recently,
yeah.
and I would say in the last 3 years. We were asked to go to Huntington Beach Ultimate Training Facility to help Rampage with Fedor.
Yeah.
And we did a little bit of work there, and I mean, the guy, I mean, he has my respect as a fighter. I do believe that, you know, we're going to be just thrown to take off each other's heads, and it's going to be a glorious time for everybody.
And I feel like you can't really go wrong when two, 6'4", 250, 260-pound dudes are slinging haymakers and leg kicks at each other.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who doesn't like that? I mean, a lot of big promotions have built their reputation on big dudes trying to break each other's face.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jared, man, I really appreciate your time doing this with me, man. I'm really excited to have you again. Everybody, you guys can come watch Jared throw down against Maykel Clark at Fighters Rep 17 on February 18th. Get your tickets at FightersRep.com. Jared, I'm going to leave the floor to you, man, before we part here. Is there anyone you want to thank? Any shout outs you want to make, sponsors, anything like that?
Not really too much. I just want to say thank you everyone for listening to us. Thank you guys for actually having me on the card. I appreciate that a lot. If you would like to follow me, I'm on all major social medias under Jared Vanderaa. I'm actually a lot better on TikTok, oddly enough. Uh, yeah, I have a bigger following on TikTok than anywhere else, and I just joined that like 2 years ago.
I love it. I love it.
So yeah, those are some of the things I'm doing. If you want to follow my little venture of life, go ahead and follow on those. And again, just thank you guys all for being a part and watching this all come together.
Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, Jared Vanderaa. Again, get your tickets at FightersRep.com. I really appreciate your time, Jared, man. Thank you so much for this one, bro.
And thank you for having me.
For sure. We'll see you then.
All right, sir. Bye.